It's Sunday, the 6th of August, 2023. And let's get the banner with me on. There we go. This is the show. We give our reactions to yesterday's comfortable win over Burton at Bloomfield Road, including the brace from Shayne Lavery and a fine debut from new midfield maestro Ollie Norburn. And yes, he did it. The Critch fist pump is back. I'm John Aspinall. This is Seaside's podcast match direction show. Blackpool 2, Burton, Albion 0. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Seaside's podcast, match reactions show. Can't get my words out on a weird time on a Sunday, 8:45. Sir Keir's fault, or for those who are watching this video stream, Gordon Gecko's fault. He was going to be on GB News or something, weren't you, Tim? But it all fell through.
Yeah, no, they didn't want me in the end. Apparently something happened today, so it all got. There was going to be a bit of a League One roundup, I think, and so Mark Saggers, who was on obviously Talk Sport quite a bit, and was a friend of the boycotters back in the day. He asked me to go on, and then something's happened and it's changed, so they're going to do it another time. So.
Wasn't GB News, was it, Tim?
No, Talk TV. It was going to be.
TV,
so
okay. That
was at 8:20. So I was juggling my social media commitments. Anyway, I think you need to get a bit pre-seasoning because that intro was going all over the place.
I was getting feedback from another browser tab. It sent me a bit haywire on the pod audio, but all is well now. Speaking of pod audio, Andy Grice is on his new mic. Sounding
look at that.
Spot on.
Absolutely.
Andy sorted it out first time with his new mic, as opposed to Mr. Fielding there, who was once again fiddling with his knobs. 1 minute before we go live.
It's now to do with me. I just turned it on and turned it back on again. It was fine. So I think it's the IT gremlins in StreamYard that are to blame.
We'll let you off. Welcome, Andy, anyway. Good to have you on, mate.
Thank you very much.
Nick's here as well. Welcome, Nick. You're not eating a Michelin-starred meal for once this evening. What is going on?
Yeah, my 50th 2-week birthday celebrations have finished officially this afternoon. Just had my last glass of wine and I'm on the orange juice now.
Slumming with the little meal tonight, then.
I've made a roast dinner after yesterday when I was meant to get in from the match and cook a decent meal, but went out about 11:45 to South Shore with no breakfast, no tea, no dinner. Couldn't get a pie at half time and was leathered. So the meal was a kebab and a garlic bread when I got in later. So I had to make up for it today.
Sounds pretty good, that.
Yeah.
Horrendous queues at half time. I couldn't get a drink. 2 people serving in the West. 2. No bottle bar as well. It's been demolished.
Shocking in the South too.
Was it?
It was like, I probably got in the ground at 2:30. I just wanted to see a couple of people, and the full queues at 2:30. At half time, it was just so slow. So slow. Hopefully, it's just down to new staff and things. Because I noticed the girl who was the quickest in one of the South kiosks last year wasn't there. So hopefully, it's just teething problems with new staff. But
I think the staff retention is a major issue in hospitality generally, isn't it? And I was in the Moretti and. It was weird the way they were serving up there as well. I mean, I don't think we had the same problems that you guys had, but it was there's massive queue and this woman just like wanders off. And I'm thinking, where's she actually going? And she just went and wandered around, didn't pick any glasses up, didn't do anything. Then came back and said, "What do you want?" After about 2 minutes. And I think she just wanted to go and stretch her legs, but she goes and stretches her legs when there's a queue of about 20 people waiting to get served. It's just weird. But I think that's the problem. I think the reality is that national minimum wage, whatever or the equivalent is, then you're always going to be struggling. And it's 3 or 4 hours a week, every other week. maybe, it's not as attractive to certain people as more regular work. So I think that's why there's always the turnover of staff that they get.
I was texting you, Tim, saying how much is a season ticket in the Moretti Lounge. I was thinking of that might be the solution, but clearly not.
It wasn't bad. I mean, we got served. It was just there's little pinch points when everybody turns up about just after 2:00 where there can be a bit of a queue, but otherwise it was dead easy. But that's why we do it. I mean, I can't. You could never get served if you turn up in the concourse. It's a nightmare. So you've either got to leave your seat 20 minutes before half time to get a drink, or you don't bother. So, but we can leave our seats. There's 3 or 4 minutes. Well, these days actually, we used to leave our seats 2 or 3 minutes before 45 minutes. But I think I'm going to have to revisit that one because with all the extra time you get now, I think you can safely leave it at 45, 46, 47. But you got to go straight to the bar. Did everyone get in okay, by the way, with the season tickets? I was in one of the turnstile corners on the northwest. I think it's 3 or 4. I think I got there about 20 past. No big deal really. I know some people did have issues though, but mine worked okay.
Yeah, there were queues. I think some cards, some of the readers were working for some tickets and not for mobiles, I think. So hopefully just first day teething problems. I guess you can only test these sort of things so much, can't you? And then you're going to get your first crowd of 10,000 plus, which is the real test for it. So hopefully it's a one-off and they'll iron it out. And
also people just need to be a bit smart about it, don't they? I mean, turning up at 10 to 3 in trying to get into, I just saw like a thread about people trying to get in the north. But if you turn up at 10 to 3 when there's a new system in operation, you're asking to not get in for the start of the game, aren't you? That was the one game today, so yesterday I should say, where you probably needed to give yourself an extra 15 minutes just to make sure everything was sorted. So, but it's one of them. I think I saw a thread at AVFTT about they're going to put the kickoff back, but I don't know whether it was a bit over dramatic. I mean, we've had some issues in the past, haven't we? Just getting in generally. So I don't know. I went in about 1:00, so it was a bit of a different experience. Obviously, it was really easy. But
I exercised my ghost of turnstile 13. I've never seen us win out of turnstile 13. So really? I thought a new season, new broom sweeps clean. So turnstile 13 worked a treat this week. Long live turnstile 13.
That ghost has been exercised. People in the comments, let us know. Did you get in okay? JBFG said, I saw someone putting their phone in the slot instead of scanning it. Don't think you were the only one. I knew someone who was thwarted by their industrial phone case. Dave Dixon, my phones work perfectly. So, I don't know. I think it's actually quite, not having to remember your plastic card. It's a bit of a kind of a weight off your mind, actually, just having it on your phone. Because you take your phone everywhere now, don't you? So, quite like it.
And they've introduced.
There's a lot apparently got the cards though. There's a fair few bought them.
I think a lot probably did that because if they weren't going to get to games, you'd give it to someone, but you can actually transfer your ticket to another phone now, can't you?
Can you?
They've announced I don't know, sometime last week. I think you can transfer it over to another device. I mean, mine worked fine, but Jim was right in front of me on an iPhone, and his didn't work at the same, just 30 seconds before. So there's obviously a few teething issues, but hopefully a one-off and it'll be sorted for the next game.
They gave the information out that cards were transferable the day after I paid my £40 for 2. Very nice of them.
And someone's just said, I heard they actually turned the e-ticking off and letting anyone in almost. That happened for the Hibs game because the ticketing wasn't working for the the print at home ticket. Antonio, I have a card, no problems. Yeah. Oh, Phil Omby's just said phone transfer only for certain matches.
Right, I wasn't aware of that. Mm-hmm.
Why would it be only certain matches?
God knows.
That doesn't make any sense, does it?
Bet you were pleased to see me sat 8 seats down from you, Nick, my new season ticket spot. That was a nice surprise for you, wasn't it?
It was as well, yeah. And there's another guy, do you know Tigger? You'll know him, Tim, from
the
they were up in the Moretti, actually. They were.
They were, yeah. So his ticket's just a couple of seats down from me. So yeah. Welcome to
Northwest corner.
Yeah,
place to be. Bird shit all over our seats, caked in it.
Where's BST with the mop and buckets?
No bird crap in the south. Far too posh in the south for you.
Cushion seats in the south, isn't it?
Absolutely. They expect nothing else. We've got
Colin to look after. A rug if you want one.
We've got Colin to look after next to us. Don't worry about that. We have enough issues in the south.
Right, let's get on with the reaction anyway. Starting 11. This was the starting 11. Grimshaw, Pennington, Ekpateta, Husband, Hamilton, Morgan, Norburn, Captain, Carey, Conley, Beasley, and Lavery. Nick, we're used to these ridiculous curveballs being thrown by particularly Critchley, and yesterday was no different, was it? A huge WTF moments when that was released. So, give us your thoughts on it.
Yeah, you immediately start. Well, first thing was what why isn't Lions starting and where's Tribal? Was my initial reaction, and then you start trying to work out who's going to be playing where. And I didn't at any point think that it would be Connolly as a left wing back. Wondered whether is it 4-2-3-1 or something else. But that's Critch, isn't it? And it's not the first time, and it won't be the last. Where at 2:00 on a Saturday, we're trying to work out what's going on. Lions, I think we're a better team with him in the starting lineup. Tribal, I mean, I've not seen any real of pre-season, but saw the bits of him last season, and again, you wonder what's going on there, why he's not even made the squad, whether he's on his way. I don't know if those rumours are true or not, but look, we got the win, didn't we? So you have to say fair enough. And we'll see what happens with Lions and Tribal going forward with a game on Tuesday. So maybe they feature in that.
Tim, Andy Lyons was the most notable absence for me there. I heard a rumour that he doesn't fancy playing. I don't know if it's true or not. This is what I've just heard via hearsay, that he thinks he's a championship standard and might be wanting to leave. Might be a load of. He is championship standard, yeah. So I don't know what's going on there, but maybe
equally, we've probably got half a dozen players of championship standard, which is why I made the prediction I did in the pre-season in the pre-season review. Definitely championship standard. Now, whether he wants out or not, the only logical explanation for me for Lions and Tribal not being involved, I know albeit Lions was on the bench, is that there's some issues there, which is incredibly disappointing, because I was actually saying on Thursday night, whatever it was, whichever night we did it, how pleased I was by how few players we'd actually lost. And how strong the team was, but it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one for a manager. If players want away, then how do you deal with it? Do you play them anyway, or do you say, right, I'm going to focus on the ones who want to be here? But even when you saw the lineup, you thought, well, Connolly must be the right wing back, and CJ must be the left. And then when you saw how it was set up, and Connolly's never played on the left, unless I'm dreaming.
He's played everywhere across the midfield and defence now, hasn't he? Apart from up front, yeah. Well,
he I don't think he never played on the left. He's predominantly right-footed. I know you can, you got your inverted wingers bit, but he's not really a wing back in any shape or form, is he? And we've actually got two who could do a job there. We've got Thompson and Lyons. And for neither of them to feature, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but then when the injury comes and there's the obvious that he slots into the back three, we don't even do that. And it's like, there's definitely an issue. There's an issue, and that's incredibly disappointing because nobody leaves Lyons on the bench and nobody leaves Tribal. It's like leaving Fiorini, telling Fiorini that to clear off home at Nobbers away last year, isn't it? It's one of them. Tribal's been probably one of our best players pre-season. So there's something going on. No doubt we'll find out about it in due course.
Penny, for your thoughts, Andy, before we move on starting 11.
Very much the same. Very much the same. Just no one can understand the Lions thing. Other than maybe, and this maybe first game of the season, he just wanted to be solid, and Connolly gives him more of that, and maybe he'll go more with the attacking threat of Lions going in as long as they don't sell him. Beasley's probably the other one that is going to be Marmite, isn't he? But probably we've got no options with Joseph being injured. We could have put Dale up front, couldn't we, instead of Beasley? But just having a big man up there, maybe that makes Lavery a bit better. But we'll see. But that was my thoughts. Exactly the same with Tribal as well. But yeah, again, you look at where Norburn played, and can he fit Tribal and Norburn in together? Would that be at the expense of Morgan? Could Morgan move further forward and play where Carey did? Who knows? But
let's just hope we're reading something into this that isn't there, because we need Andy Lyons.
Yeah,
he's going to be an integral part of this team this season. Nick, Andy mentioned Beasley there. Came a great start to the game, almost 30 seconds in. He's got the ball in the back of the net, but just unfortunately it was offside. But we started well and on the front foot.
We did, yeah. And like I say, marginally offside, unfortunately. It would have been great if it wasn't. And yeah, it was a good start. And I thought we pressed really well. We had a good intensity about us. And I kind of said to Jim quite early on, I think we're going to be all right here, because they weren't great. And that first half, we were really, really good. Certainly a game of two halves. We'll come on to that. But yeah, it was a good start.
Lavery's first goal. Tim, talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably your classic poacher's goal, wasn't it? Obviously it was opposite end to where I was. I've seen it back since, but the
combination. It was the combination, wasn't it? It was 3 or 4 move combination before the balls come in. Started by Norburn. Was it Morgan as well involved?
I mean, Norburn throughout the game seemed to be able to thread a pass through defences, and it's probably one of the things that we've been missing for a few seasons. I think that's somebody who can thread that ball through. And there was a few examples of him doing it throughout the game where you can see how important he's going to be to us, and you can see how he wants to dictate the pace and dictate the tempo at which we play, which is great to see. I mean, you might have to get somebody else, because I mean it was the other end. Is it Albie Morgan?
Morgan, yeah.
It was, and it comes loose to him, and he just snatches at it and scores. But it's a poacher's goal, and I think we're seeing Lavery generally back to where he was when he first signed for us, where he was such an exciting player to watch, and it was quite frustrating watching him clearly play below par, because we'd seen how good he was, and the reality is he was probably just still carrying a knock, and there's such fine, we spoke about it on Thursday, there's such fine lines between success and failure when you're a striker, as regards whether you get to certain balls, whether certain things come off. And he looked like a striker completely on top of his game all day, I thought, on Saturday. And it's almost like a Harry Kane, Gary Lineker, that type of goal where he's in the right position, he's there, and he puts the ball, and that's what you want from a striker. and probably, even Yates didn't do it, did he? It wasn't a poacher, Yates. He tended to, if Yates scored, it was something that he created and was something a bit special. But you also need somebody who's just going to be like the 6-yard penalty area predator who's just going to pick up on a loose ball and bang it in the back of the net. And I was very, very pleased for him, because it's quite important for strikers to get off on the front foot, I think, when the season starts, and for him to score as early as he did in the game was a great fillip for him personally, and also for the team, I thought.
I think the David's alluded to it, that pass that Norburn put to Morgan, which didn't lead to a goal, did it? I think that was the one that Norburn put wide, and you're begging him to square it to Lavery, who was standing on his own. But when you looked at it from where we were, the goal just opened up, and for him to curl it in, and he got stuck in between two stools, I think, to his squaring it and shooting, and just put it wide. But that pass from Norburn was exquisite.
It was exquisite, wasn't it?
Brilliant, brilliant pass, and like. If we're going to see that, and runners going in front of Norburn and being able to do that, then great. But from the Lavery point of view, strikers feed off confidence, don't they? And I remember him going down with his hamstring last year when he was actually playing well, and he was thumping the floor because he knew what he'd done. And yesterday he looked back to his best, where he was harrying, and he was being a pest, wasn't he? To the back four, and that's where his second goal came from. Just being an absolute pest to a big lad, and he just got the better of him, didn't he? And when you're in confidence, like I think he said about his first goal, he just hit it. He didn't look. He just hit it, and that's what you do when you're confident. You don't look. You just playing
on instinct, Andy, isn't it? It's playing on instinct.
Well, if he'd looked, Andy, or if he'd taken a touch, it'd have gone.
Yeah.
And how many times did we see that happen last season, where we're in the box and people want that touch, and the chance goes. It was a split second he had, and he used it. Yeah. He used it massively to his advantage. That's what we want. I mean, maybe he was felt he was a bit in the shadow of Yates and Big Gaz, and he was a third choice. He often got pushed out wide, didn't he? Yeah. But he knows this season, as things stand, he's the main man. He's the main man.
Nick, let's come on to you.
There is one.
Sorry. Let's move on to Nick. The second goal from Lavery. Quite a few people in the comments are talking about the quality of the delivery from Norburn. As Andy's just said, though, Lavery was a pest and just putting that massive defender on his arse. But with Norburn, the guy's pure class, isn't he? And he's just the player we should have signed in the
had he not
previous
been
window. But if he had been injured,
had he not been injured, then we could well be sat here talking about an opening game in the Championship yesterday, because he's just what we've been missing in the midfield. That pass and the little bit of skill before it, there was just audible gasps around the ground of like, wow, what's he done there? Because we're not used to seeing it. He was different class for all the time he was on the pitch, and like I say, would have made a massive difference last season. And for the second goal, that's what Lavery's about, isn't he? Like Andy said, he's a pest, and he's harrying their defender. He gets in front of him, and then for a split second, when he it was like a sand wedge, wasn't it? The finish, and it was kind of, at first I thought, oh, what's he done there? Has he skewed it? But it was absolutely perfect, and he set off running. As soon as it left his foot, he knew it was going in the back of the net. And again, that's confidence. Last season, that ends up scuffing wide. The first goal, like Tim says, he takes a touch and it doesn't go in. This season, he's full of confidence from pre-season, and to finish like that was absolutely fantastic and deserved as well. We were on top, and we had a real good intensity about us. So.
Did anyone see Sonny Carey walking around oh my God, he's with his head on his hands, I can't believe what he's just seen.
Yeah, brilliant.
Can we have a hands up who's got Lavery at 50-1 to be top goal scorer?
My mate Ben has. Oh, he did, yeah.
And it's down to 20-1. Tom's saying in the chat.
Tom's also saying tell Oxford to stick Brannigan up though, Jaxie. We've got Norburn. But yeah,
they got battered yesterday, didn't they?
They did 2-0.
Yeah, I had them on To be fair, with all their recruitment, I thought, they'll have Cambridge in the pockets. And anyway,
I think they'll
coupon
be okay.
buster for me.
Matt's bringing it down to earth there. Great start for Norburn. Pretty sure other teams will mark him more closely than Burton did. Keeping it real, Matt. Matt did predict 2-0 as well. So I think we need to listen to him. Burton generally, first half particularly, shocking. One of the worst sides I've seen at Bloomfield Road in a long, long time. Apart from obviously every single Mick McCarthy Blackpool team.
I just went and watched a YouTube of one of the Burton guys doing their vlog from yesterday, and they were just standing there shaking their heads, going like, "We were awful. We're awful. A little bit better second half, but we're awful."
I think they were a lot better second half, to be fair. But the first half, they were all over the place, weren't they?
We had one save to make. It was just a deflected pot shot almost, which Grimmy's dealt with quite comfortably. But into the second half, Tim, I thought, here we go again when we saw Matthew Pennington, fantastic debut, alongside Marv, limping off. I thought, here we go again. But
incredibly frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've read from Critchley today in the news, I can't remember what it was, official site, I think, that it's just a very slight tweak of his groin and it was just precautionary, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and he'd had a good debut, probably more so than I recall that the game went to it up at Barrow. He was very much on the right side, wasn't he? He was basically playing in a right back role, I felt. Really, really pushed out on the right hand side, and but I thought he did okay. You know, I think I sort of prefer him a little bit more central, personally. I think than we saw. Maybe that's just because there was space there, and he was going into the space where it was. I don't know, but if we're going to play this three at the back, I just think when we're playing good teams, we're going to have to be. Probably we will be. You know, just be a bit closer together than I thought we were on Saturday. But I was. Yeah, when you see somebody go down like that and you're thinking, Jesus Christ, you know, what we've done, we've played, 50 minutes, 55 minutes of the season, and one of our linchpins is potentially out for a while. So that sounds encouraging. I don't suppose we'll see him on Tuesday, but hopefully he'll be fit. He'll be fit for next Saturday, and if not for then the week after. So I take some encouragement from that. Don't get a lot of information out of the club, do we? But that seems to suggest it's not. He's not going to be out for any significant period of time. So,
Nick, if you look at the screen now, I've put up on that banner, Pennington off, Marv off it. One slight observation from the second half was Marv's he kind of looked a bit shaky without Pennington there next to him. He looks almost like when they'd lost Keogh.
Exactly, just about to say exactly the same thing. He needs the ball playing centre half alongside him. Without one, don't get me wrong, defending, he's absolutely brilliant. But if you're asking him to play out with the ball, it's absolutely not his strong point. And I think the longer he has on the ball as well, the worse it is, because it's like you can see it coming. Like, I'll wait for another second. Now I'm going to make the pass, and somebody nips in. And there was the moment in the second half where it put their player clean through, and thankfully he didn't put the ball in the back of the net. But again, I think against better opposition, it could have been a different story. And without that ball playing centre half next to him, he does struggle. And we are going to play out from the back under Critch. It's the way he does things. So he needs someone else alongside him to take that, I suppose, that worry off him, because it's absolutely not his strong point. And I think he tends to, once he does it once, it's obviously played on his mind, and he's likely to do it again. So hopefully, like we say, Pennington's not out for too long. and he can be the man who can take that responsibility, and Marv concentrates on the things he's very, very good at.
Do you know what he needs to do, Nick? He needs to play a bit of Wally.
Yeah.
He needs to get against the wall, just focus on a straight pass, because everything you said is 100% right. But if he has more than a split second to even think about it, I mean, we saw it last season, didn't we, with his balls out to the right back that often got intercepted because he was telegraphing what he was doing. And he can't do it. He can't do that. And I still think defensively he's superb. You know, if he's chasing the player down and looking at getting nicking in and getting his foot on it and to put it out, he's brilliant. But if you put it, he has a ball at the feet. He's like headless chicken, and it's a serious part of the game he needs to work on. And you could do worse than play a load of Wally, left foot, right foot, just 5-yard passes, back to yourself, because it's those 5-yard passes, 10-yard passes that could cost us. I mean, how they didn't score from that one in the second half is beyond me. I mean, it and better teams will punish us.
Andy, Antonio Simeone. I wonder if he knows David Magazzino. Casey did well in his place. Your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, he did okay. Casey, to be fair, I don't think he did anything wrong. I thought maybe you've got a point where Pennington went off and then Marv sort of felt a bit uneasy, but he's like we are going to play this way. We're going to play this way, but to play that ball in, they're obviously sides are going to close Norburn down, so because they're expecting Marv to play that ball into, where Dougal's uncomfortable with Menity's back as well, and so we need people to play to who can accept the ball and knock it off, and he just Marv he's got to learn, hasn't he? Casey, I thought did okay. I thought he had, he obviously played the full season last season, didn't he, at Forest Green? So let's see how he does. He's probably play on Tuesday night, like as Tim alluded to before. I probably expected Connolly to slip in there and then bring Lyons or Thompson in at left wing back, but
just to the room then for the. Sorry, Andy. Just to the room now. The second half was instantly forgettable, and that's being kind. I've read Critchley's review of the game today, and he was not happy with what he saw in the second half, and I quite liked reading that, because I think we need to be. It'd been better if we would have sent out a statement to the rest of the league like Barnsley have, and put 3, 4, 5 past them, and I think that's something we need to look at to regain that really killer instinct and really go for the jugular and finish teams off, because if they'd have pulled that one chance back when they should have scored, it could have been a different story.
Do you not think we were reactionary though? I thought we had the enforced sub on Pennington, and then it's like, well, I must admit I didn't keep a complete thing on the time, but it must have been 80 odd minutes before we changed anything. I suppose
Casey came on 55 and Dougal and Dale came on 75.
Oh, right, okay.
A bit earlier
than I thought. And to be fair, with all the extra time we've got now, that is actually a good 20 minutes, isn't it? But I don't know. I just he's not one for check. It was pretty obvious we were off it from the beginning of the second half, weren't we? And obviously, I think they got a half-time bollocking and they'd reorganised a bit and came out and had a bit of go. I thought they had a little bit of a go, to be fair. I think that they looked, they were closing down a lot better, and we just seemed to carry on doing the same thing. I know he's not featured in dispatches so far, and I am going to add him now, but CJ looks a bit too predictable to me. He did seem to have the beating of his man, but then there's no product at the end of it, and it was just like, I think we need to be cleverer in the way we play in the attacking third. And I think apart from Lavery, I'm going to be quite brutal here. I thought we were quite poor right across the front. Whoever was on the pitch, whether it's Carey, whether it's Dale, whether it's CJ, I think I could almost see Lavery getting a bit frustrated because I think he wanted that hat trick. And I understand why he wants that hat trick. He scored 2 goals in the first 30 minutes, and he's buzzing, and he thinks he can get it. And he probably took a couple. He probably pushed a couple of things where he should have passed. But to be honest, what was going on around him wasn't good enough for me. And listen, we talk about going up as champions. We ain't going to go up as champions playing that in the attacking third the way we played yesterday. For me, other than the first 30 minutes, okay, that was all right. But Burton, 15th last season, we're going to have to be a lot cleverer in that last third.
When
it's early days, though.
It is early. Listen, I accept that, but I'm just, I'm sure Joseph is going to come in. I'm sure we're going to have other options. But I didn't think we were great down the wings, and that's not just CJ. That's also Conley on the other side. But I don't blame Conley because he shouldn't be playing there anyway. CJ, I just thought. We really need to work on that last ball, and because he gets past the men, but then just his decision making isn't good.
Tim, when you saw, I don't know if you saw the game today, the Cardiff game, but Bowler scored a goal that we would recognise, where the winger went down the wing, got to the byline, and Bowler, where others made the run into the 6-yard box, Bowler dragged back to the edge of the box, and so he pulled the ball back. Bowler shot, okay, he missed the first shot, but it got blocked, but it came back to him and he scored. And we recognise that because we see that so many times. When CJ was making those runs and beating his man, he was constantly going across the box, right, across the 6-yard box, and he kept getting blocked. Whereas if he'd had the man coming, making that run to the edge of the box, he'd have had 2 options then. But as it was, he just had the one option of drilling it across, and they just read it and just kept blocking it. We got a lot of corners from it, but what frustrates me is when he runs, he has men on toast sometimes. And it's just the understanding of where we're running, and the midfielder, someone like Morgan, say, pulls back to that edge of the box, right? Honestly, there'd be options galore, and then you've got a chance, haven't you? But they've got to practice that.
I just think he doesn't get his head up, Andy, when he gets in those positions. He just pops it into kind of a.
Well, he did when Bowler played here. He did when Bowler played here and pulled it back, didn't he?
I just don't think that. He is better playing on the left-hand side because he's a left footer. Yeah. I think you just get more control and direction of your pass when that happens. But right, let's move on to the player ratings then. Let's start with you, Nick. Dan Grimshaw.
Didn't really have much to do, did he?
One save.
That save in the first half. Other than that, he
was a bit wayward, wasn't it?
Little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
It's a tough one because he, like I say, he's not really had to do much other than that save in the first half. 7.
Should get a 10 just for being Grimshaw and being in the team.
Yeah, he's due a few points that he never got. Pennington, sure. Andy.
I thought he was all right. I didn't think his distribution was too great, to be honest, but he's just, I do think he's a good player and he'll become a good player for us. Again, 7 really for me.
Big Marv, Tim.
A conundrum.
Is that a new value on the FPRS system?
I don't know. Conundrum.
Like a wild card, I've got a joker.
It's like
joker in the
not in possession. Maybe a 7+. In possession, 5. So I'm going to go for a 6. I'm going to go for a 6. But he's when he's not in possession, he was actually okay yesterday. I thought it was just shocking.
Finished?
Yep.
Jimmy husband, Nick, I thought he was quite solid yesterday. A calm head, much needed calm head in the back.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He was pretty solid and calm, like you say. We've kept a clean sheet at the end of the day. Wasn't spectacular, but didn't really do anything wrong. 7.
There's been no FPRS uses so far. Callum Connolly, Andy, playing in a unfamiliar left wing back role. Didn't really do much wrong. Bit negative at times. Bit Ray Wilkins-esque for those of a certain vintage.
Yeah, he's not a left wing back, is he? He's just a solid player. And that's why I think he wanted him in yesterday. And I just think he wanted to be solid. 7. I don't think he did anything wrong. I didn't think he did
Spectacular. Yeah.
Nothing spectacular, no.
I think same applies to Sonny Carey, Tim.
I have a big issue with the way all the forward-facing attacking players played yesterday, other than Lavery. And I think, unfortunately, and I like Sonny, I don't think he did enough. They were. Listen, we've got to get it right. They are going to be near the bottom this year. They're going to be bottom third, I suspect. So we're going to have a lot tougher tests, and he's going to have to up his game as against the way he played yesterday. So it's a 6+ from me.
I think that's fair. Carey needs to play in the number 10 role for me.
And that's where I would have played him yesterday, to be fair to him.
I've had to delete a lot of good players from this player name banner. I'm just clicking delete on Bowler, Yates, Keshi, Pervader played today. It was quite sad. Big Gaz. But a great player has been entered on the banners, and yet you've got him. Ollie Norburn. Fantastic debut. Ran out of a bit of steam to be expected, but nonetheless, he had a great debut.
He did, and I thought second half. I think obviously, like Tim said, they've had a rollicking at half time, and part of that rollicking would have been you need to get a bit closer to him, which they did a bit in the second half. But he's a class act, a good contender for man of the match as well, alongside Lavery. It's a 9 for me.
Albie Morgan, Andy, league debut for Blackpool, 1 assist, almost got a goal.
I
think he did well. In quite a lot of positive play, so I thought you had a good game.
linked up well with Norburn. I asked the Charlton fan, as I've probably alluded to on a previous pod, I think. I asked the Charlton fan what she thought, and she just said, yeah, he's good. He splits opinion a little bit at Charlton, but she always thought he got plenty in the tank, and so consequently, like, I was looking forward to seeing him. I think him and Norburn looked pretty good together. Carey probably looked the weakest of the 3 midfielders yesterday. So 8. Decent debut.
The dice has been rolled, Tim, and it's landed on CJ.
Fuck. I don't want to be too harsh on him. I really don't, but I'd never pick him to start for us.
Got into a lot of promising positions.
He did.
But no end product.
He did, and then didn't do anything with any of them.
7.5 on FOTMob.
He had that shot in the first half, didn't he? Where he cut inside and hit it down to the keeper's left.
A generous 6.
I think that's harsh.
Do you?
A little bit.
Use the FPRS.
What, you think I should go plus?
Yeah, I think so.
Go on then. 6+. And that is generous.
Jake Beasley, Nick.
I thought he did okay again. Like Annie said at the start, he's one who will split opinion. I mean, he's not played much football for us, has he? So you maybe need to take that into account. And people will compare him to Medine. And I thought, to be fair, he won quite a few headers, and he held the ball up at times, which obviously allows Lavery to do what he does and bring other players into play. It'll be interesting to see when Joseph is fit, what happens, whether he drops out of the side. But again, it's early days for him, and I'm not, one of these people who's writing him off already. I think I'll be generous and give him a 7.
And finally, the man of the moment, our Northern Irish magician, Shayne Lavery. Brilliant in the first half, snatching a bit of chances in the second. Yeah. Desperate for that hat-trick, but you can't blame him, can you? But all round, Andy, a superb performance.
Yeah, that was Lavery first half. That was Lavery at his best, but second half, I just think he was like you're saying, really, he was just desperate for a hat-trick, wasn't he? So maybe he shot when he could have passed a couple of times, but you could understand. 9.
And man of the matches round the room. Obviously, there's probably 2 contenders for me. Let's go with your pick first, Tim.
I'm going to go for Lavery just as a shade over Norburn, and that's only because it's just fantastic to see him back close to his best and being the nuisance that we've spoken about earlier on in the pod. Everything I want to see from a centre forward's performance, to be fair. So it's a waffer of on man of the match between the two of them. To be honest, I think you could go either way.
Nicholas, your man of the match.
Yeah, I'd agree with what Tim said. It's just with Lavery, but like you say, it's a cigarette paper between him and Norburn. They were both excellent, but 2 goals. And yeah, you're right. He was trying to get his hat-trick, and there was a point where if he'd have rolled it across, I think it was to Beasley, he'd have had a tap in and got a goal. But again, you can understand it, wanting to get his hat-trick, and he just shades it for me.
So we've had a wafer, a cigarette paper. I think, Andy, given your cricketing background, I think the analogy we can use is another coat of varnish.
Coat
on the
of
ball
varnish.
hitting the way, another coat of varnish, and he's out.
Another coat of varnish between them.
There was nothing. Between Norburn and Lavery.
There was nothing between them. It's just absolutely, Norburn, as we said, we've been crying out for someone like that for so long. It was just really nice to see, and I think people went out that ground at 17 minutes past 5 on Saturday, just thinking what a player we might have here. Just got to stay fit, isn't he? Good captain too.
Yeah.
Who are you choosing then?
Yeah, but who are you choosing, yeah.
Lavery.
It was like a guessing game, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I came out a bit down after the game. It's just weird. I shouldn't have been. I was like trudging out at the end. I think it's probably because I couldn't get a drink at half time. The 2 pre-match pints is kind of wearing off, and the second half was just.
Well, we didn't have a shot on target in the second half, did we? So,
two things for me, really. Like the words "bored" were used a lot around by us second half, and I honestly think if we're going to play that way, we have to move the ball quicker. And when we're moving the ball quicker and space opens up, then I think it's a lot more enjoyable to watch. When it's the ball moving slowly, playing possession football that he wants to play, it's turgid, and that's how it is, and it's boring.
To be fair, though, he like you said in his comments, John, that isn't what he wanted us to do in the second half. I was really interested to see what he said, because if he'd have said, "Oh yeah, it was all great," and I'd been a bit really, because that was 45 minutes where, like you say, they'd closed Norburn a bit, and CJ was static, so the defenders are getting the ball and looking and going, who am I going to here? And it's going to a midfielder and coming back again. And it was like that for a good period of time. Critch has said that is not what he wanted us to do. So I don't expect that we will see that week in, week out. There's maybe an element as well in that second half that we were thinking, we don't necessarily need to get into third or fourth gear here. It's reasonably comfortable. Like I say, it's still early days. The transfer window's still open, so we're still looking to bring a couple in, aren't we? Which again, could make all the difference in terms of being able to keep that intensity and that press up like we saw in the first half. So, and it's as much as it was a bit boring, it's probably still better than hanging on with a goal in it, thinking, "Oh my God, there's an equaliser coming here." It was still relatively comfortable, wasn't it? Albeit against a team like who Tim says I think will probably be bottom half of the table. And I think if we were up against better opposition, I think you raise your game, don't you? At times. So I'm not coming out of there thinking, "Oh God, this is going to be a long old season." I think it was just a bit of a dull second half, but it was job done in the first 45 minutes. And at half time, you're all thinking this could easily be 3, 4 or 5. It didn't turn out that way, but it's first game of the season, a long way to go. We've got 3 points, which is all we would ask for at the start of it. So happy days.
It was exactly like my under-11s friendly game in the morning down at Unity Academy on the 3G. We gave the team we played a right pasting in the first half. Second half, it was every single player was just trying to score, shooting on sight. And it was kind of a mirror image of that. They kind of took up the foot off the gas. I think it's something naturally footballers do, don't they? So, as Nick said, though, hopefully that's sorted out for the next time we're 2-0 up and cruising. Go for the jugular, I think, is the key thing. Finally, manager rating. What do you think, Tim? Critch's first game at home. And go on.
I was going to give him a 7, but I'm going to give him a 6 because I thought I was going to puke at the end with the fist pump. But if I'm the flip side is, and I said this actually in the Armfield afterwards, if he hadn't done it, could it have been like become a little bit of a monkey on his back for the rest of the season? And the North were asking him to do it, so I don't know, but I did cringe a bit when I watched it, to be honest.
I think it'd have been better if he'd kind of pretended to do it and then go, "Oh no, I'm not doing it," and just laughed and then just given a thumbs up and walked off.
It's a difficult one. And it comes over and they're all going "woo," and I think if you ask most of those there, because the most we're doing the old with the your palms up and everything, not your palms up, you back your hands up. A lot were doing it, so they wanted him to do it, and he did. He gave them what they wanted, and I think on balance, probably it was the right thing to do. But at the time, I thought, "Oh God, no, not this early in the season." But so
I'm calling out Deeks.
I didn't like the wing backs. I think the wing backs were wrong, and I don't want to go over that again. That's why he's getting a. I'll stick with the 7. I won't knock him down for doing the fist pump.
Nick?
7.
Andy?
7. And I'm calling out Deeks and Danny for encouraging the North to give the fist pumps as well.
It's always a nice, good factor after the game ends, though, isn't it? So, like you've said, Tim, I think it's probably a monkey off his back now. It's done now.
Yeah.
Right, finally, before we go, if you're watching this on YouTube, do like and subscribe to the channel. We've got quite a few people who watch this show and don't subscribe, so do subscribe. That's just an aside, but we have got Derby away in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday night. Anyone asked?
Not on the slightest.
Me.
Go on, Andy.
I'm just sick of getting knocked out of cups or in the first round all the time. Just why to get promoted or keep yourself in the league do you have to get knocked out of your cups in the first round because we can't be bothered? I think it's more of a thing like why don't we take them seriously for a bit? Even if we change the side a little bit round, no problem. But want to win. I want to win. Plus, I hate Derby as well.
Yeah, I think we'd all say we want to win. I dare say there will be quite a few changes. Perhaps some of the players who are on the bench will feature, and maybe even some that weren't even on the bench. We will see. I think they lost, was it to Wigan on Saturday in the first game?
Yep.
yeah, but again, I think they'll be making some changes. They've signed quite a lot of players, Derby, haven't they? And they're still in for a few. If you look at transfer rumours, so it won't be easy. But we've just
it's a strange one, that, isn't it, Nick? About because you'd have said it was like a banker for Derby, because Wigan obviously have lost I think three of the best players have just walked away, haven't they, because of non-payment of wages. So I actually thought they were the whipping boys of the league, to be honest. But
Mike Blackpool's just said we'll know a lot more about Tribal and Lions when we see the Tuesday team. That's a great shout, Mike, actually. That will be the acid test.
I hope they're both going to start. They've got to. They both should be in the first team against Exeter, but we'll see.
Well, I hope Lions plays on Tuesday and plays brilliantly, and then he sees him for what he is, really.
Yeah. Right, we're on an hour. I probably needs to go to the bed now. Time's at 9:45. Yeah. So everybody, thanks for joining us on the stream. Late start this evening, but we will be coming back. We're going to try and do this every Sunday from now on. Hopefully getting a bit more regular. We have been talking about doing the odd live show from the Arndale. Add a new twist to these reaction shows, but that is all dependent on the Wi-Fi speed that Mr. Magazzino, I'm reliably informed, is checking as we speak. So look forward to that when that happens. Right, everybody, thanks for your company this evening, gents. It's been a pleasure as always. All right, said is thanks for watching, thanks for downloading, and up the pool!
Up the pool!
Up the pool!